Awesome. Now we're good to go. All right. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is the seasonal approach to fat loss. And one thing that a lot of people do that is probably detrimental to their progress is they try to lose weight for too long. And what happens when you are in a calorie deficit for too long? Your body adapts. Your body gets used to the calories that you're continually consuming. So if you are, say, eating 1,600 calories, eventually your body's going to get very efficient at burning 1,600 calories. Even if in theory you're thinking, well, like I'm burning more calories than I'm taking in, I should be losing weight. Well, your body just gets more efficient. So you're not actually burning as many calories as you might have initially, which is extremely, extremely frustrating, especially if, you know, you're working your ass off and you're trying to lose weight and nothing's happening, right? So, this is kind of like how I always combat how I combat this, and I teach you guys strategies so you never have to struggle with this ever again. Oh, sorry. So if you guys could, if you are here, if you want to hop into the Zoom room, I just left the comments. Oh, here we go. I got some people here now. Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen. I actually made a little demo. Here we go. Whoops, not that. Perfect. I gotta find it on my screen. Awesome. So here we go. So this is a seasonal approach to fat loss, but you can apply this to any goal. Okay. Present. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm gonna move this down here. Hope that looks good. All right. So the seasonal approach, all you need to know to keep hitting your goals. So in theory, your goals. Oh shoot. Hold on one second. I'm sharing the wrong screen. I'm the worst when it comes to technical difficulties. There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking. All right. So the seasonal approach, all you need to know to keep hitting your goals, not hitting plateaus, keep things progressing forward and working for you so you don't get frustrated, so you can see the changes in your body. All right. So we always have an in season. And I always want to start by teaching you guys what an in season looks like, because this is where 90% of people start. This is not where people start who work with us. This is not where I start with people. This is not where I start for myself. This is not where I'm starting with my wife. And I'm obviously going to give my wife the best possible direction in the world because I want her to have nothing but success, right? Naturally, I want that for everybody, but I'm obviously going to give that to her over anyone. So if you don't trust me, go talk to Kayla. Tell her, be like, hey, did I put you in a calorie deficit right away? And I did not. So in season is your active pursuit of your goals. And the reason I put a football here is because you got to take a page out of the football playbook, okay? The reason I love football so much is because it's one of the few sports that still has seasons. Youth sports are blending seasons constantly. You know, you go for basketball, they have basketball during basketball season, which is winter, and then they have AAU, and then in between they have tournaments. So, and then between that they have like camps and stuff like that. So you can play basketball 365 days a year, every day of the week. I don't love that for multiple different reasons. Same thing with soccer. You have your club soccer team, then you have your high school soccer team, and then you have your futsal soccer league, and then you have your indoor soccer league, and it just never stops going, and you're constantly playing your sport. And that's like the easiest way to get injured. Well, same things apply when it comes to fat loss. Same things apply when you come to muscle building. Your body is always adapting, so you need to give it the stress that you need to change it. Cool. So in season, you're doing everything in your power to accomplish a goal. So if you have an in season for fat loss, you're doing everything in your power to accomplish your goal. You've prepared for this and have all the strategies in place. So when things don't go your way, you can still hit your goals. You have a begin date, you have an end date, and you have a goal in sight. You also know what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not willing to sacrifice. And I think this is another really big thing. A lot of people think like, oh, I'm just like going to lose weight. And then they never think like, for me, for instance, I might be willing to sacrifice alcohol or extra sugar or donuts or cupcakes or whatever for a set period of time. Well, what most people do is they never have that conversation. They never set those boundaries. So then they have foods like that. They feel guilt and shame from it. And then they actually spiral and they're like, well, I'll just restart my phase on Monday. and they do great Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They have a work party and they drop the ball, and then they feel defeated again, and then they start over on Monday. And it's this all or nothing principle. But if you know these things ahead of time, you know your strategies, you know what you're willing to sacrifice, you know what you're not willing to sacrifice, you might be able to be a little bit more here because you know it's only going to last for, I don't know, 4 to 12 weeks. I don't like going more than 12 weeks without at least one refeed. So that's something to kind of note too. You should not always be in season. Imagine if like Patrick Mahomes had to play next week, like just crushed his ankle, whatever, is struggling with that high ankle sprain, and just continue, never giving your chance, your body to recover. And I think that's another huge impact, or if you guys listen to me at all, is you got to give your body a chance to have that recovery, right? So most people started in season, and it might be the furthest and worst place for you to start, but you know, to each their own. All right, so in season, active pursuit of your goals. Oh, that's, I don't know why this says Canva there. That's convenient. Postseason, recovery from the intense in season. It typically looks like a vacation. All right, it's, you're not thinking of things, you're not stressed about things, you're taking a break, you're not tracking, you're not, you're eating healthy, you're not treating yourself like an asshole because you're no better than that, but you're trying to recover. You understand that when you go into a calorie deficit, you are putting a stress on your body. Okay, you don't track, you take a break, you celebrate the success that you just got. Cool. Most people typically actually start in postseason. If you've been dieting forever and then you start with us, you might start in a postseason, which sounds crazy to some people, but you got to give your body a chance to recover. So in off seasons, where you fix all the shit that went wrong in season. So in season is active pursuit of your goals, and you're trying to lose fat, right? You're trying to tone up, get stronger, whatever. Well, say you went down to 1,500 calories, 1,400 calories, 1,300 calories, and you didn't lose weight until you got down to like 1,000 calories. That sucks. Life sucks. You're miserable. You're short. You're snappy. You're moody. You're irritable. Your sex drive plummets. You feel like shit. You don't sleep good at night. That sucks. You have to go and be malnourished basically to get to the point where your body's like, all right, I got to get rid of fat because I can't hold on to this stuff. So that sucks. So how do you do that? Off seasons typically look like maximizing your metabolism. So you build strength typically during this period. You repair your hormone health. Like if you were struggling with, I don't know, digestive issues, you try to figure out all the foods that you can digest really good in an off season. You're building all the strategies and the routines in the off season. You're trying out different things like, hey, how do I go to parties? And you're putting like you're trying everything out in your off season. So you're trying to get all the pieces back in line to build the perfect team, the perfect strategy. So next time you go into your in season, you're more successful. So if you go through like a 4 to 12 week period of fat loss and you don't lose a lot of weight, well, what went wrong during that time? And then you try to fix it. So for instance, if you were unable to give up alcohol or whatever your non-negotiables were, your strategies, you have to build new strategies in the off season to kind of combat that. So that's kind of a time for trial and error. You're trying like out a new playbook per se. Okay. So if you had to go very low calories with weight, you want to increase your metabolism. How do you increase your metabolism? Well, you sleep better. You go for walks. You typically try to get stronger during this time. You actually might go into a slight caloric surplus, which sounds crazy to some people, in efforts to put on a little bit of body weight and a little bit of body fat to recover your hormone health. So there's a lot of stories of people that I've talked to that actually had to, like, say they're at 130, they actually had to go up to like 135 to finally get below 130 again. And it's just that recovering and telling your body that you're safe and you're actually able to increase your muscle mass. A lot of people are like, oh, I started working out and I'm not seeing a lot of weight on the scale move. And they're like, I must be building muscle and losing fat, right? And everything's just balancing out. And it's hard to freaking build muscle. So the odds that you built 10 pounds of muscle and lost 10 pounds of fat and you still feel the same, or you feel just a little bit better, probably not the case. Sorry if I just crushed everybody's spirits. And then you have a preseason. It's where you revamp to get back into your in-season goals. I don't know why it says Canva there. That's driving me nuts. I make my stuff in Canva, by the way. But preseason, you revamp to get back into your in-season goals. So you get a little bit more detailed. You take that off-season approach and you dial in everything a little bit more. You might be back to tracking intensely and measuring and weighing your food. You might be, honing in your workouts and building your sleep routines and like really solidifying everything that you need to know. You're refining those strategies so you know exactly everything that you need to plan out during your in season. So then you map out the next 12 weeks and like what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're not willing to sacrifice. So it typically looks like tracking, building out menus, getting your workout routine dialed in, figuring out more detail of how you're going to crush your goals. It's important to go through this preseason phase because it just sets you up. It's kind of like, all right, this is what homeostasis feels like. My body feels amazing. I'm primed. I'm ready. I want to eventually get back to this and how good I feel. Because in season, you know you're going to kind of go into a suck. It's going to be challenging. So you go preseason, and then you go right back to your in season. And then typically that second in season is going to be way more successful, especially if you didn't start there. If you started in the postseason recovery and then you went to an off season. But now what you can do that you have this seasonal approach, you could have little mini seasons throughout the year. So say you want to go into 3 to 4, 10 to 12 week deficits. Well, when does that work best in your schedule? It might work best from January 1st till March 10th. And then March 10th is my wife's birthday. So I'm going to go nuts and celebrate and have a great old time, which looks like a postseason. And then I'm going to get right back to my off season. Well, what sucked during that time? Well, I got to go back to homeostasis. I got to go back to balance. I got to go back to recovery for a week. So then I go an off season from March or postseason March 10th to March 15th, March 20th. And then for, 10 days. And then I get back into off season. Well, I'm going to go do a strength phase. I want to get stronger during that time. I felt weak during there. All right. So I actually go to my calorie surplus for, let's do an 8-week surplus, 2-month surplus. We're going to go March, April, May. And then into June, I'm going to go for a 4-week cut to get ready for a July 4th party. Awesome. So I go back into my more aggressive cut because it's shorter. I don't have to be as miserable as long. I go in with clear intentions. The month of June, I'm crushing my goals. I'm going to lose another 4 to 8 pounds during this month. And then July 4th, I'm having another postseason. I'm having like a long weekend, right? And then you go into another off season. That off season might actually look July 4th all the way through to Labor Day. And then during, that summer, you're focusing on just maintaining your weight, but you're living the dream. You're doing your minimal stuff to really enjoy. So your off season might actually look like enjoying things more, because that's what sucked during your in season. You weren't able to enjoy things. So now you got to be able to enjoy it while maintaining your weight, which for some people is a problem. So you're working on that during your off season. And then you do another little preseason because you got a trip to visit your in-laws for Thanksgiving. I don't know. And then you can see how you can kind of build this approach. And then you have another off season from Thanksgiving to Christmas, which I found for myself to be really successful. So the next time I want to lose fat on January 1st, I did. And now I'm leaner. I'm happy. So that's how it works. Some common mistakes that people make is most people start and spend too much time in season. They never give their body that postseason recovery that leads to the all or nothing mentality. So they actually never do a true in season because they are so challenged and so all or none principle that they fail and they just restart on Monday. But man, do you think you could do this for 4 weeks, like instead of the rest of your life? Because say you're going to start up to be or Weight Watchers or something, and you inherently know you don't want to do this forever. But they kind of tell you you have to eat like this until you hit your goal. But what I'm telling you is well, let's have a short-term goal. Let's crush it, hit it. Let's refeed ourselves. Let's have a little postseason, enjoy life, celebrate, the 15 pounds you just lost. And then let's do it again. And let's do it again. And over until you get to your goal. So, it actually turns out to be more efficient because you never have to start back over. You don't lose 10, gain 8 back. You lose 10, you might gain 1 or 2 back. And then you lose 10 and then you gain 1 or 2 back. And you lose 10 and then you gain 1 or 2 back. So after the course of the last you just lost, what was that, 24 pounds in 3 cuts that you're never going to gain back because you actually lost it in fat, not muscle and fat, because you did it right. Those are the really attractive things. Also in the treat the seasons, then you're not likely to treat yourself like an asshole. So you're never going so intense and so strict on something that you really feel like you're missing out on life. Yeah, you might give up some things like, I don't know, cheesecake, cupcakes for a short period of time because you're in active pursuit of your goals, but you're doing it and you're losing fat. Your body doesn't want to gain fat that quick. Okay, to gain a pound of fat, you have to eat in a 3,500 or 3,600 calorie surplus, which is a lot of freaking calories. So if you're not in that binge restrict, or you can see why that could happen over time. But how long is in each season is a common question that people ask, and it depends. It depends on your goals. It depends on how you react. If you're a slow adapter, you might have to be in there longer. You know, you might have to be in there for the full 14 weeks just to see 14 pounds. But you know, if you're a quick adapter, you get in really quick, you get out, and you lose your 14 pounds quicker. But you're also going to be adapting there quicker, so staying in there longer is a bad idea. And so like it's very hard for me to tell specifics, especially for people, because we figure that out during the process with, you know, myself and my clients. I know I got to go into a more aggressive cut for a shorter period of time because my body adapts pretty quick. And then I come out, and it's kind of cool because my body adapts pretty quick. I go back to homeostasis. I feel really good pretty quick. You know, it doesn't take me a long time to come out of it. So it depends. You have to find that out for yourself, or if you're working with someone who's done it before or taking people through it, that's always the most efficient way. But it also depends on like, what have you been doing for the 6 to 12 months before you started this diet? You know, what did you do for the last 3 years? Because you might have to hang out in a postseason, off season for like a year if you just spent a decade trying to lose weight and being unsuccessful and gaining the weight back, or losing and gaining, losing and gaining. You might have to, you know, if you went really strict and you did a really hard, intense diet, and you've been eating under 1,000 calories for fucking 5 years, you might have to spend 2 years repairing all the damage that you did. But your body will repair it. It just might be slower. It's called the HPA axis dysfunction. I've talked about it a few times. So how do you know when it's time to go into the next season? You listen to your body. That's the big tell. You listen to your body and you see what the scale's doing. You know, if you're in a deficit and you are being strict and you're following through for yourself and you're hitting all your non-negotiables and you're not losing weight, well, that might be a time for a refeed. Or you're not in a deep enough deficit. You know, there's a million different reasons. But if you're feeling like crap, if you're short, you're snappy, you're probably not sending the signal that your body's safe, and your body's kind of revolting against it. Okay? So that's another tell that it might be time to go into an in season. So that is all we're going to do. I got Jackie here live. If you have anything to say, Jackie, you can unmute yourself and ask some questions. Otherwise, if anybody has any questions on Facebook, I can't read it. I can just tell who's here. Any questions from anybody anywhere in the world? Here, let's do this. Am I live right here? I can't even tell anymore. You get to watch the replay of the replay. Never mind. Well, if you guys do have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go hang out with Wells. Man, this is really frustrating. How do I just go back to the meeting? Back to meeting. There we go. Awesome. Well, if you guys don't have anything, otherwise I'm going to wait another second or so to let Facebook kind of catch up. Jackie, do you have anything to say? Do you know anything? What's going on here? Oh, there we go. I just got to stop the screen share. See, I'm just struggling right now. All right. So that is a seasonal approach. That's the way that you can lose weight forever. And then when you do get your goal weight, you're like, well, what do I do then? How do I treat my seasons? Well, maybe you want to, I don't know, get your more specific goals. I want to tone up my arms. I want to get like more lean legs. I want to have like a more visible six pack. Oh, whatever. I want to get ready for a photo shoot. You set up your seasons to be prepped for that. Like another really hard thing to grasp is that like when models get ready for a photo shoot, they don't look like that 365 days a year. They look, oh man. Sorry, Jackie just told me something. Yeah, so they don't look like that 365 days a year. They look like you know, holding on to a little bit of body fat, and then they get ready for that photo shoot. So I think a lot of people have unrealistic goals of where to live, and they don't know quite what it's like to sacrifice to get all the way down to those extreme lows. You do want to talk to somebody, you can always talk to somebody who's been there. and knows what it feels like to be like, I don't know if you're female, like 15% or less body fat. You might not feel good. So without further ado, if you guys do have any questions on about this, I'd be happy to answer it. Otherwise, I'm going to stop the recording.